Now, remember the problem Jetstar had in Hawaii? Passengers stranded for 2 days while maintenance crews fixed the problem. Well, that plane had also just been maintained here in the Philippines at Lufthansa Technik.
What we had in Hawaii was some fuel problems which we believe led back to the heavy maintenance checks that were carried out in the Philippines.
Other defect reports have also come out of the Filipino facility. The most concerning one, a crew oxygen bottle lock-wired shut.
I think that one of the difficulties today, we have airlines run by people who count beans rather than aviation people with an engineering or operational background.
MacArthur Jobe is an airline safety expert and author. He's worked with the former Department of Civil Aviation and Federal Department of Transport as a senior air safety inspector. He's concerned at the decision by Qantas to move some maintenance offshore.
An airline can't be run purely on the basis of what is the most profitable operation. What's got to be taken into consideration is the operational standards that the airline has, because that's its stock in trade. If it hasn't got that, it won't have any profit.
None of this surprises one airline consultant with 45 years' experience in the industry. We're talking about a licensed aircraft maintenance engineer and a qualified airline safety auditor. He's been to the overseas facilities in Asia and he's witnessed the work being done there. Unfortunately, he wouldn't speak to me on camera because he's simply too scared of the ramifications. But he did say to me that the experience and expertise in the overseas Asian facilities is simply not there. He told me they don't understand the instructions. The task is sometimes so large, they decide to do something which can often be incorrect.
That borders on xenophobia, I have to say. Racism, if you want to translate it. I mean, it's...
Doesn't your own report prove that?
Does anyone seriously suggest that people in those countries cannot maintain aircraft safely and adequately?
Well, your own report said that. Meet David Cox. He's the Executive General Manager of Qantas Engineering and a champion of the overseas maintenance facilities. It certainly wasn't quality work that was done in Singapore.
We think it was quality work.
Do you believe safety has been compromised?
No, that's safety being enforced because we are applying the standards the same standards as we apply in Australia. And remember, these are quality people. I mean, they're not start-up companies.
Would a quality licensed engineer or unlicensed engineer do that to electrical wiring?
Well, it's a pretty poor quality photo.
Is that quality work?
Look, I don't know. That could be in the lift on the way in.
Those photos were taken from the plane that you sent to Singapore.
Well, I would love to know how you got a hold of those, because if any one of my people had those photographs and there was a safety issue, what I would expect them to do is to put their hand up instantly, come to us, raise the safety issue, and we'll go back and deal with it.
Well, a task report was of the issue, so they haven't tried to...
And I have utter confidence then, if that's right, I have utter confidence it's been dealt with.
Do you believe any Australian licensed or unlicensed engineer would do something like this?
That particular instance? Probably not, but the... well, no, let's just rewind on that. I come back to what I originally said. Nobody should pretend that the Australian facilities are perfect.
Since this report came out, Qantas has audited the Singapore facility again. But this time it was a shorter C-check of a 747, an inspection that happens every 3 years, unlike the 6th yearly entire overhaul as audited in the previous report. Mr. Cox points out fewer problems were found, but the issues of signing for maintenance that simply wasn't done and signing for 30 hours worth of work in one shift still came up.
They pulled their socks up. We went up there, we dealt with it, and we are now comfortable with their performance.
Are you worried about the things that haven't been found on those planes?
Well, I don't think there are things that haven't been found.
It seems Qantas is looking at cost-cutting on a local basis as well. This leaked report shows how it plans to slash the Adelaide maintenance budget in half, from $15 million to just $8 million. At
Qantas, our commitment to being Australia's airline is stronger than ever.
If you listen to their latest television ad, Qantas obviously still believes its record is unbreakable. But with another 747 due up in Singapore in 2 weeks for a 55-day heavy maintenance D-check, a full overhaul of the entire plane, we can only hope this time the facility picks up every last fault and defect, and that Qantas closely monitors the Singaporean facility as advised in its own audit report.
Qantas's standards are as high as they've ever been. In fact, I would, despite some of the ways these things can be taken out of context, I think our standards are actually higher.
I think what they're doing is taking a gamble. If the aircraft are not as safe as they once were, well, the passengers who fly in those aircraft are no longer as safe as they once were.